This is the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast. We have assembled the world's finest sports and trivia dorks to prove once and for all that we are just as bad at this as we were at sports.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast, sports trivia for those of us who rode the pine. You are listening to episode number 255. I'm your host tonight, David, and today's game will feature the Benchwarmer team of Josh and Eric Ede versus the team of Tako and assistant coach for our Patreon team, Ethan Metzger. Hey, Ethan, it's been a while since you've been on, so how about if you take a minute to remind us where you're from, what teams you root for, anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I realized before I logged on, I think I've been on more Christmas trivia episodes than I have regular episodes, which is funny. But yeah, I'm up here in Seattle, Washington, program coordinator for an environmental nonprofit. Yeah, but I generally root for the Mariners, the Steelers. Follow a little bit of everything though. Sumo has been my most recent thing I've been into, and that's been super fun. So if anybody ever wants to talk about sumo.
That's awesome. You mentioned that in the pregame, but we didn't get that on the air. So
yeah.
So where do you watch sumo? I mean, if one wanted to watch sumo, how do you even watch it?
Yeah, so NHK Japan, which is like their PBS, they publish the highlights from the tournaments. And so in like 30 minutes, you can catch up on like all the top division matches for that day.
Wow.
Yeah, they do a really good job of like posting the content on their website, on their app, like, and on YouTube. There's a lot of really good content on YouTube too to like learn more about like the divisions and the rankings and the stories of all these wrestlers.
I'm still caught up on the fact you said it's Japan's equivalent of PBS.
Yeah.
So I'm picturing like sumo coming on like right after Sesame Street or something. Right. That's really cool. Hey, Tako, how you doing? How you doing this evening? Let us know what anything that's going on in your world and yours and Ethan's team name.
So any of our Bay Area listeners will really identify with how incredible this feat is that I accomplished this weekend. But I went out in San Francisco, California, 2 nights in a row. I don't know. There's something about just the emotional chore it is to get out and get to the city if you don't live in the city, that going out 2 nights in a row feels like I went on like a 3-week bender. And I'm so tired.
Wait, was this one long night, or did you actually go home in between? And then
no, I went home in between. We went out for
okay.
dinner and drinks on Friday night, and then I was back out for more stuff on Saturday.
Wow.
And I'm like, riding Bart after 5 cocktails at 11 o'clock at night, like I'm 23 years old, and I'm not built for that life anymore. I'm just not. That's a young man's game, and I am no longer a young man. But speaking of people who are no longer young men,
Nice
Russell
transition.
Wilson is the focus of our team name. Ethan's a Steelers fan. We're for Ethan's sake, we're hoping for good things from Russell Wilson this year, and that includes his family. And so our team name tonight is going to be Russell Wilson is a good father.
He's got that going for him. Yes, that's perfect. All right, Eric, Josh. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
All right.
Yeah, things are going good for me. Last Sunday, stepchild 3 of the previous 3, so 3 out of 4 total for me, got married, and I got to meet the grandbaby, which was, I think has been mentioned before. So that was really neat. So I got to see all 3 of the stepkids. 2 of them live out of state. So that was nice to see them and meet the grandbaby. And yeah, other than that, everything's good here.
Very cool. And Mr. Ede,
Hi.
how's it going?
I'm fine. I mowed my lawn, and I didn't find any ticks on my person. So win. Because last year I mowed the lawn twice, like 2 times in a row, and found ticks on and then I neglected to mow the lawn a lot last year. So mental victory today. So Josh and I, for people that don't know, we have a problem. So our team name is one of us is addicted to trading cards, and so is the other. But David, I know that's a lot to say, so you can say it a couple times, but in any other time you want to just keep it short, you can just call us TA, Trading Cards Anonymous, because I've been to more card shows than I care to mention. I've bought a bunch of cards yesterday, but I did get a De La Cruz like alternates that I'm very excited to have.
Wow.
I've submitted some
Nice.
cards for grading. If my Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card comes back as a 10, which, fingers crossed, I'll be selling that immediately.
Wait, so are you
anyway.
investing? Are you two investing in older cards, or are you just buying up new cards? These
Yes.
days?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay,
Correct.
okay.
The answer to that is yes. Correct.
And,
Yeah.
and when you say the Griffey, you mean the Upper Deck rookie card? I assume you mean, right?
No, this is the tops. It's not I guess it's not technically his rookie. It's the 90 tops with the
Okay,
is it the
okay.
gold, the gold cup one.
Okay.
If that comes back at a 10, it's worth about $400, almost $500. So I'm gonna flip that immediately and buy more cards probably with it. So yeah.
Something tells me that you two have a problem.
Let's
what?
you know what? Look forward to your naked bootleg trading card episode coming to a podcast near you.
That'd be
man.
actually kind of cool.
That's going to be like an 8-hour episode.
Oh,
Yeah,
I got
it's true.
time.
All right. Well, he'll be sorting cards. as
It'll
he-
keep me
as he
from
talks.
buying.
That's right. Keep you guys off the streets. Okay. We have one of us is addicted to trading cards, and so is the other against. Russell Wilson is a good father. Let's get on to some trivia, and let's go over to Benchwarmer Emeritus Dan to read our rules.
The game will consist of 4 quarters of play, each with different trivia style. The styles of quarters 1 through 3 will change from show to show, and I will explain them as we go along. Like any good sporting event, we will have a halftime show after the second quarter with entertainment questions. And in the fourth quarter, our teams will wager from their points accumulated to see who are today's clipboard captains, to be honored like the true benchwarmers they are. All right, let's get this game underway.
Okay. Today's first quarter is going to be sporting haikus.
Sporting haikus. For this quarter, there will be 4 questions in haiku form. Each question is worth 25 points.
Question number 1 of sporting haikus. NFL record, playoffs consecutive years. Last year was 19.
We'll check in.
All right. Russell Wilson is a good father, has checked in. Trading card, guys.
Hasn't Tomlin never had a losing season? Wasn't that a whole thing that's been since he started?
That's true, but that's that means 8-8's also count.
I get that, but also that division hasn't always had stellar teams who are finishing high. And
But keep in mind,
yeah,
the year Brady tore his ACL was what, 2008? So from 2009 till 19, they made the playoffs.
well,
That's
maybe that
11
is
years
the
in
right
a row.
answer.
So my guess would be Patriots.
I'm going to trust you over me.
I feel like the Steelers had to have missed at least once or twice.
Just one of those where they were 8-8. They didn't actually
Yeah,
get one of the wild
That's-
cards.
that's what I'm thinking.
All right. I'm fine with that.
All right, let's check in with the New England Patriots.
All right. And Russell Wilson fans?
Yeah, we didn't overthink it and also checked in with the New England Patriots.
All right. And both teams will be receiving points. Yeah, Ede was spot on. The Patriots made the playoffs from 2009 to 2019. And when Brady left, basically, so did the Patriots. So, yes, both teams are receiving points. Question number 2 of Sporting Haikus. NBA record, playoffs consecutive years. Last year was 19.
Okay, David, we'll check in.
All right. Trading guards have checked in. Russell Wilson, you can talk it out.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
good.
we are also good to check in. And we'll check in with the San Antonio Spurs.
All right. And back to trading cards.
Yeah, they were good forever. So with Tim Duncan's entire career till when he left, I think they hung on for maybe a little bit after, and then San Antonio Spurs.
Both teams are receiving points. Yeah, the Spurs, again, spot on need. They made the playoffs from 1998 all the way through 2019. And then again, sort of they hung on for a couple years, but after Duncan left. But by the time Parker and Ginobili and everybody was gone, they were out of the playoffs. So well done. Both teams getting points. Question 3, MLB record, playoffs consecutive years. Last year was 05.
David, we'll check in.
All right, trading cards is checked in. Russell Wilson, time to talk it out.
My first thought on this was the Braves, because I know they had that gigantic division title streak throughout the 90s and into the early 2000s.
Yeah, that would make sense to me. I can't think of any other teams more recent than that, that would have, or yeah, any other teams kind of in that time frame that would have a similar run. So I think we go with that.
Yeah, because it's probably, because they made the World Series in 91, so it probably stretches, to 90 maybe. They weren't in the playoffs in 89. That was Giants Cubs, but maybe 90 to 05, somewhere in there. So yeah,
Cool.
we'll check in with the Atlanta Braves.
All right, and trading cards.
Just to clarify, they were a part of a worst to first World Series in 91. So they their span was started in 91 and went to 05. We also said the Braves.
Both teams are receiving points. Yeah, small technicality
Cool.
here because they didn't make the playoffs in 94, but nobody did. So
Well, right.
right. But yes, they were in the playoffs when the playoffs existed from 91 until 2005. So basically the span of, most of that was the Glavine, Smoltz, Maddox. I mean, you don't have 3 Hall of Fame starting pitchers and not make the playoffs. So anyway, good job to everybody. All right, well, you probably know where this is going. Question 4, NHL record, playoffs consecutive years. Last year, 96.
I'm not going to overthink it. I'll just go with my gut. We're going to check in, David.
All right. Trading cards is checked in. So Russell Wilson, you can talk it out.
Ooh, I'm 50-50 on this one. I really don't know for sure either way. So
Yeah, I think the names you tossed out in the chat, Red Wings, Bruins, Flyers, all pretty consistently good in that time span. I think the Red Wings won the cup in 97.
okay.
So that would eliminate them. Bruins jumped out more than the Flyers did when you posted that list.
Yeah, hockey history is definitely not my strong suit, but I feel like Philly was probably more likely to have some sort of slump in there or like miss a year. Yeah.
Right.
And I feel like just historically the Bruins would be more consistent.
Yeah, we'll check in the Boston Bruins.
All right. I'm dying to hear what Ede has to say about this. So trading cards, what you got?
So Bruins was my gut initially. However, the Blackhawks were also one of those teams with a crazy streak, and it's something ridiculous like 26, 27, like in the mid to high 20s. But I think 95, 96 leans me more towards Bruins, so we went with the Bruins. But I feel like the Blackhawks are right there too, but we went with the Bruins.
Both teams are receiving points. I was actually more worried that somebody was going to say the Montreal Canadiens. They've been so dominant, but then they had some seasons that they just fell off. The Bruins actually made the playoffs from 1968 all the way until 1996, 29 straight years.
Oh.
So
wow.
They have the NHL record. Now, obviously, it's a little bit easier. It's more impressive than even in baseball where there was a time when only 2 teams made the playoffs and there were times when only 4 teams made the playoffs. NHL's always had, gazillion teams making the playoffs, but still, it is the Boston Bruins. So well done. All right. Well, after the first quarter, we are all knotted up. One of us is addicted to trading cards, and so is the other, has 100 points. And Russell Wilson is a good father, also with 100 points.
We wanted to let you know that we are on Patreon if you'd be interested in supporting us financially. Your contributions will be used to help us cover the costs that it takes to bring you the high-quality sports trivia you have come to expect from us. There's also some great perks that come with the Patreon membership to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast, including bonus episodes and Benchwarmers swag. You can find us at patreon.com/benchwarmerstp. Thanks.
Today's second quarter is going to be flop, turn, and river.
Flop, turn, and river. For this quarter, there will be 3 questions consisting of 5 clues. The first 3 clues will be given before the teams decide if they want to check in with their guests. The last 2 clues will be given one at a time, with teams deciding if they want to check in with their guests after each subsequent clue. If a correct answer is checked in after the first 3 clues, the team will receive 50 points. After the 4th clue, 30, and after the 5th clue, 20.
Question 1 of Flop, Turn, and River. Who am I? The flop. I was drafted in the second round of the MLB draft in 1978. I started and played in all 33 innings of the longest professional game in history in 1981. At 276, I have the lowest career batting average of any member of the 3,000 hit club.
We're going to check in.
All right. Well, after 3 clues, one of us is addicted to trading cards has checked in. So The floor is yours, Russell Wilson.
Okay.
Yeah, I like what you threw out there. I don't know if I'll be able to come up with any other names based off of the current clue, but I like the last one there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can talk freely. They've already checked
You can
in.
talk freely.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I just started throwing out because I have no idea about the longest professional game, so that's not helping me at all.
Right.
So I just started throwing out guys that would have started in the majors somewhere between 1978 and 1981. So they probably got their 3000th in the mid to late 90s. So that's like Eddie Murray, Wade Boggs, Cal Ripken. And of those three, I kind of like Ripken the best.
Yeah, like statistically, like I feel like it makes a lot of sense for him to have, the lowest career average of the 3000 hit club. Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
then something about like starting and playing all 33 innings of the longest professional game. I know it's probably not correlated, but yeah, just like having,
but that does feel like
yeah,
some very Cal Ripken crap to do.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
Should we
those-
check it in?
yeah, let's do it.
All right. We will check in Cal Ripken Jr.
All right. And one of us is addicted to trading cards.
Yeah, we had a similar conversation. I brought up Ripken because I think 78 was his when he was drafted. But then, other names that came up were Boggs, Gwynn, Molitor. And it's like, I think all those guys probably have a higher batting average. I think, Gwynn especially, and Boggs, that guy, he has to be, if he's not north of 300, he's got to be right close. So we also think this sounds very Cal Ripken Jr.-esque. So we checked in with the same.
All right. Well, I will share my turn and river clues. The turn was, or is, I hold the major league record for most home runs at my primary position. And the river was from 1982 to 1995. I did not miss a single game and set the record for most consecutive games played. So the correct answer is Cal Ripken, who had 353 home runs as a shortstop. Yeah. So the inspiration for this question was I was listening to some old 30 for 30, I think, and they were doing something about the Rochester Red Wings versus Pawtucket 33 inning game, which Cal Ripken and Wade Boggs both played every inning, I believe. Cal Ripken had 15 plate appearances in that game. I mean, just imagine that. The other thing was that I totally forgotten about this. I used to live in Providence, so I would go to McCoy Stadium, which is where the Pawtucket Red Sox, who no longer exist, played, and their souvenir cups were memorializing that game. Rochester actually scored in the top of the 21st. And when Pawtucket came up and scored in the bottom of the 21st, the fans started booing. The hometown fans started booing because they wanted the game to be over. By the time they suspended the game in the 33rd inning or the 32nd inning, there were exactly 19 fans left in the stands. It was 4:30 in the morning, and who the hell is going to stay for that long? And I think they gave them all either something like season tickets or lifetime passes or something because it's AAA. So anyway, there you go.
I mean, why boo? You can just leave.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's not like they locked the doors, like nobody can leave.
Exactly. When this game's over, we need at least 10 fans in the stands. Nobody's leaving. Yeah, so exactly. So there you go. Well done, both teams. That's maximum points. Okay, question number 2. What sport am I? Okay, the flop. I am a sport that was invented in 1968 by a group of high school students in New Jersey. Clue number 2. The first intercollegiate game was played by Rutgers and Princeton. And clue number 3, the Callahan Award is this sport's equivalent of the Heisman Trophy. And in its history, the two schools that have won the men's award the most times are, wait for it, University of Oregon and Brown University.
Of course. Of course.
Take that.
Yeah, David, we're going to check in.
Wow, that was fast. All right, Russell Wilson is a good father. He's checking in. One of us is addicted to trading cards. Floor is open for you to talk about it.
I mean, I got something I can throw at you that I think it would make sense to have been invented around that time by high school students. Any chance it's ultimate?
It is.
I just can't think of too many sports that make sense that they would have been. It would have been invented by like high schoolers in the 60s.
Pretty sure that's what it is. I don't want to.
I mean, I don't have anything really other than I know nothing about the first game or the Callahan Award. I just keep thinking of Tommy Boy when I hear Callahan.
The fact that they refer to it as a game too, because in my head, like when he first asked the question, Like for some reason, 1968 New Jersey screamed hacky sack to me, but then you say ultimate and it makes more sense. So I'm good with it.
So you want to check in with it?
Yeah, might as well.
All right.
They did.
We're going to check in with ultimate.
All right.
If you need the
And-
word frisbee, we can add that. No, I don't think that's technically part of the name.
All right, Russell Wilson, what you have?
I mean, I'm now obsessed with the idea that there might be a Heisman Trophy equivalent for hacky sack. Like, I would absolutely love to like see the finalists and the voting for that. We also the DuckCon helps in this case because I do know, having gone there, that University of Oregon's Ultimate Frisbee team is very, very good. So we also checked in with Ultimate.
Both teams are receiving points. Let me give you the turn in the river. The turn was as part of the spirit of the game. The sport is famous for its self-officiating at all amateur levels. And the river was common throws include the forehand, the backhand, the hammer, the scuba, and the chicken wing. The correct answer is ultimate. And yeah, I don't think you have to imagine the Heisman Trophy for hacky sack much longer because it's going to be the graphic for this episode. I'm quite certain.
Did you say the scuba? A scuba?
There's a scuba. Yeah, I don't know if I could demonstrate it, and I'm not sure it would matter if I could demonstrate it because it's an audio medium, but there is a throw called the scuba. Ethan, somewhere in the back of my mind, I had that you played ultimate, but maybe is that am I just mixing you up with somebody else?
I played once intramurals in college.
Okay, well, that's close.
But no, I do have a lot of friends that play ultimate.
Okay.
So somehow the Callahan Award like stuck out on that one.
Oh, there you go.
Seriously.
Yeah, so
I can't think of anything but brake pads.
Yeah, exactly. He just sold 50,000. No, whatever it was. 50,000 brake pads.
Yes, I have a feeling Heisman and hacky sack might be the
Yeah.
episode title.
Yes. It's interesting that, Josh, you made reference to ultimate frisbee, quote unquote, because there's been a trademark problem forever because Frisbee wouldn't let them use the name. But now the professional league for ultimate, I think just this year has gone back. They must have cleared something with Whammo or whoever owns that now, and they're officially calling it ultimate Frisbee again at the professional level.
Oh, okay.
Although not at the collegiate level. So there you go.
Got
and
it.
the Callahan has been awarded only since 1996, but Brown has won it 5 times and the University of Oregon has won it 3. So when I saw that, I was actually I went to last weekend. I went to my first ever professional ultimate game, the Carolina Flyers. It was actually quite fun. Those guys are good. So anyway.
All right.
So,
hey, hold on before we go. Under on David referencing Brown. I'm going to set it at 93.5.
Yeah, for the day.
For this episode?
For this episode, yeah.
He's on pace.
You're done. You're done. Yeah, that's right. I'm on pace. Nope, this is it. I just saw that. I was like, Josh is playing. I'm gonna find a way to work this in. Just to
I'm not going to get sucked into saying what I said the last time.
Oh, that's right. Although Marcus was here last time, it was a little bit different.
That is true.
That's right. Yes. You guys were not here, but Josh inadvertently came out with hashtag too much Brown, and Marcus responded with, I'm sitting right here.
I'm the only one here.
Yes.
Great.
Thus the ... university.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Question number 3 of Flop Turn and River. Who am I? Clue number 1. I was a first round selection despite the fact that I only started 16 games in college and 13 of them were in my final year. Clue number 2. Besides Ben Roethlisberger, I'm the only quarterback to reach the conference championship game in my first 2 seasons in the NFL. And question number 3, I finished my career with 85 fewer touchdowns than Andrew Luck, but 6 more interceptions.
All right, David, we'll check it.
All right. One of us is addicted to trading cards, has checked in. Russell Wilson, you're free to talk about it.
Okay. So we're looking at like 85 fewer touchdowns, 6 more interceptions. How many touchdowns do we think Andrew Luck ended up with in his career? Like,
That's what I was trying to map out. And I feel like
150,
that's the range I was
somewhere
thinking
in
in is
there?
like 160 to like 190-ish. Yeah, somewhere in there.
yeah.
I think that Cordell Stewart probably started more than 13 games.
Probably.
Yeah.
Maybe I just thought about him because I saw Roethlisberger and stuck the 2 Steelers together.
Right.
The other name that I kind of like is Mark Sanchez.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely had playoff success early. Pretty sure only started the 1 season, or like was the starter for 1 season at USC.
Right.
And so
Because he would have been filling in for, would that have been John David Booty before him?
Yes, it was
Yeah.
post Leinart. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it was John David Booty for a year and then Sanchez for a year.
You're talking me into it. So
And he definitely reached, I want to say he definitely reached the conference finals or conference championship game as a rookie. I don't remember the next season.
Yeah. I'm good either way. If you feel good about that, like I'm down for it. I don't think I can contribute a whole lot else right now.
Okay.
But I think like that like all makes a lot of sense.
So it would have been like 80-ish touchdowns and God, I don't know about the interceptions, but if it stands to reason he'd have a lot of them.
That checks out.
Yeah. Let's go for it. Why not? They're fake points and we don't get anything real for winning anyway. So sure. We will check in with Mark Sanchez.
All right. And one of us is addicted to trading cards, and so is the other. What'd you guys have?
The first name that came to mind as soon as you finished that question I sent to Josh was Sanchez comes to mind. So it's first 2 seasons, I feel like that Jets defense kind of carried him all the way. So he was never really good. So we said Sanchez.
All right. Well, our turn was I'm currently an analyst on Fox Sports 1. And the river was I may be best known for being the victim of the butt fumble. The correct answer is Mark Sanchez. Yeah, the inspiration for this was that I was looking at old headlines related to sports that came from The Onion. And there was a headline in 2012 in The Onion that simply read, "Dickhead in Mark Sanchez jersey turns out to be Mark Sanchez." Just made me laugh. Anyway, all right. That brings us to the end of our second quarter. And at the end of the second quarter, we still have 2 perfect games going. Not that I'm trying to curse anybody. Our 2 teams are tied at 250. And that will bring us to halftime.
It is now time for the halftime show. There will be 3 entertainment questions pertaining to sports, with each question worth 25 points.
All right. Our halftime is going to be pre and post game style. Half of each answer is going to be a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame band. I've done something like this in the past, but it wasn't pre and post game style. It was like they were meant to sound like siblings, but this one's going to be straight pre and post game. So for the band, I'm only going to tell you a famous song or 2, and then the other half, you'll get a regular description. So question number 1, Back in Black or Highway to Hell. And the only team that has won more MLS Cups than this team is the LA Galaxy.
We will check in.
All right. Russell Wilson is a good father. Is checked in. One of us is good to trading cards. You can talk it out.
I don't think there's much to talk out. It's AC/DC, and the only DC MLS team is DC United. So
I think you're right. I can't think of any others.
we're checking with AC/DC United.
All right. And Russell Wilson?
He also checked in with AC/DC United.
Points all around. Well done. I'm not going to stump this team. Not in this halftime anyway. All right. Question number 2. He had a 1-1 record against Rocky Balboa and an 0-1 record against Ivan Drago. And Bad Moon Rising or Looking Out My Back Door.
We can check in.
Yeah.
All right.
We can also check in.
Well, you better tell me what your answer is now because you went too fast. Go ahead. Go ahead, Ethan.
I'll check in with Apollo, Credence, Clearwater Revival.
All right. And one of us addicted to trading cards.
So my hope when you were reading that question that you were just going to kind of do a Jermichael Finley with it, but and you're just going to do Creed, but you didn't. So but yeah, we checked in with Apollo, Credence, Clearwater Revival.
Points all around. Credence Clearwater Revival was a 1993 inductee, and that would have worked nicely for Creed, but yes, sure.
Except Creed is not in the Hall of Fame. Nor
That's-
will
Oh,
they
no?
ever.
No?
They should be.
I don't think
Oh
so.
no, no.
I can't think of it as a band that people loved more and then immediately turned on faster than
Nickelback?
So.
Nickelback.
No, I
Nickelback.
don't feel like they turned on them that quick. I feel like they
You think
were
Creed was a
always-
quicker turnaround?
Creed was a quicker turner, but I feel like butt rock is having like a renaissance in terms of like we were too mean to Creed and Nickelback, and now we
Right?
feel a little bit bad. So now it's coming back around again.
I don't feel bad about Nickelback at all. I never. Yeah.
Why would anybody feel bad about any of it? Because they have $1 billion.
Yeah, they're richer than me, so
Yeah,
who cares?
No, I love that Nickelback actually is played into it, and they actually made merch that they sold was like Nickelback sucks or whatever, and they were making money off of people buying it. So
Genius.
Secure the bag.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be your own personal
Mine
side
too.
hustle.
Well,
Just-
most of
just
it's
eat
most of my
sucks.
face. Most of my face is on all of it.
The perfect branding. All right, question number 3. Reel it in the years or Ricky, don't lose that number, and our only bench warmer emeritus.
We can check in.
Russell Wilson is a good father, has checked in. So one of us addicted to trading cards. See, this will probably take about 5 seconds.
yeah, pretty sure this is Steely Dan Lundberg.
I can't think of another Dan.
Another Dan.
So,
No,
yeah.
I'm almost certain that they did the Ricky don't lose that number. So
Who's the guy from the Partridge Family? Is it Dan? No,
You talking about Danny Bonaduccio? Is it
that
Bonaduccio?
guy.
Danny
No,
Bonaduccio?
what's he from?
The Partridge Family.
That's
the only- I
yeah,
think he also did one of those celebrity boxing things at one point. I forgot who he
I
fought though.
think he
Manute
did.
Bowl. No,
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 that was
the
Manute.
fridge. That was the fridge.
Manute
Never
Ball
mind.
fought the fridge. I was gonna
Yeah,
say
so
Butterbean,
we'll
but
check in with Steely Dan Lundberg.
as he should be called. Yes, and other team. What do you got?
The yacht rock hip hop crossover we didn't know we needed. Steely Dan Lundberg.
You never know when you need it. That's the beauty of it. Yes, well done. Steely Dan was a 2001 inductee, and Dan Lundberg is a future Benchwarmers Hall of Fame inductee. So, all right. Well, we have still 2 perfect games going. One of us is addicted to trading cards, and so is the other with 325. And Russell Wilson is a good father, also with 325.
As a matter of fact, we should probably check with Dan on how the Hall of Fame construction is going at the Mine Palace.
That's right. That's
so
right.
that we can start inducting people, but we have to know when it's going to be ready.
Oh,
So
I can tell you right now, he won't get in unanimously. I'll tell you that right now.
I know David hates that guy.
That's right. I've been jealous for years, and I'm going to take it out now. And by the way, the WWE has a Hall of Fame, and they don't have brick and mortar. So I'm just sharing. We can do this.
I mean, technically, this wouldn't be brick and mortar in the Mine Palace. Just saying.
That's true.
Even though you found a way to find a brick and mortar Mine Palace, I'm confused. It doesn't make any sense.
Fair enough. All right. Today's third quarter is going to be 5-on-3.
5-on-3. For this quarter, there will be 3 categorized lists containing 5 items, where each item is worth 10 points. The teams will attempt to guess as many items as they can. However, if a team has an incorrect guess, they will receive 0 points for that list.
All right. I wrote this question before I knew Ede was going to be on. So here we go. Question 1. I'm looking for players of the Orlando Magic who have ever received MVP votes.
We will check in.
Thank God.
All right.
Go ahead, David.
Russell Wilson is a good father, has decided to check in. One of us is addicted to trading cards. You guys can talk it out.
All right.
All right. Shaq, yes.
Yeah.
Dwight Howard, yes.
Yeah.
Penny, yes.
Yeah.
Tracy McGrady, yes.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. I was down to 2 names.
Mm-hmm.
Jameer Nelson,
Mm-hmm.
Daryl Armstrong.
Right. Oh, I put the wrong. That's
You
what
did.
I meant.
You
Was
put Anderson. I'm like,
I meant Armstrong. Sorry.
okay. Yeah.
That's what I meant. And he's the
yeah.
one that you think it is because Jameer
Played with
disqualified while
Dwight
playing.
because he wasn't good enough to like Shaq and Penny both got MVP votes together, but I don't think Dwight would have like anybody thought they were good because of Jameer Nelson. Honestly, he was with Dwight, and he got all the credit for that team.
If you feel good with Daryl Armstrong being a 5th, that's fine. If you just want to go with the 4th, that's fine. I don't have a strong feeling any other way, because when you gave those 4, I was like, I don't think I can contribute, because I don't think Dennis Scott would have received MVP votes.
No 3D. Yeah, let's just you know how I am. I gamble, so we're gonna go with Shaq, Dwight, Penny. When I say Penny, I mean Anthony Hardaway, David, Tracy McGrady, and Daryl Armstrong.
Right. And Russell Wilson is a good father. What do you guys have?
We did not even consider Daryl Armstrong, but that's not a bad shout.
Yeah.
We had Shaq, Dwight, Penny, and T-Mac for sure. We were thinking Jameer Nelson. We threw Rashard Lewis out there because that would be funny. Batted around, did Paolo Banchero get any votes last year? He had a good year. I don't think he had MVP votes good. He might get votes this year. I
Yeah.
don't think he got any last year. Ede said something about different spellings every single time, and we started guessing whether he's talking about Hedo Türkoğlu, which would also be very funny. But
The no
we
shot.
right. So we checked in just the four of Shaquille O'Neal, Anthony Hardaway, Dwight Howard, and Tracy McGrady.
Okay, yeah. So to build the suspense only a tiny bit, yeah, there were four pretty obvious answers here. Dwight Howard, who did it several times, McGrady several times, Penny Hardaway 3 times, Shaq at least 4 times with the Magic, and the last one is actually Darrell Armstrong. So
Nice.
that's 50 points for one of us is addicted to trading cards, and 40 for Russell Wilson is a good father. All right, question number 2. Other than Tom Brady, who were the other 5 quarterbacks with 1,000 career passing yards in the Super Bowl?
We'll go ahead and check in.
All right, Russell Wilson, as a good father, has decided to check in. Trading card guys, you got a minute or so to talk this out.
I think we're pretty close, and I agree that I mean, aside from maybe one on the list, I think you'd have to have 4.
True. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think Warner takes it out because the two of his 3 were, big numbers, I want to say. And
Yeah.
Elway makes sense. Montana makes sense. Manning makes sense, even though one of his 4 was just bad.
Right. And I think Mahomes now he's been in 4, right?
He's been in 4, so that would almost guarantee that
He's got to be. I like those 5. I can't, like I said, some of the other 4s, you have what? Bradshaw, Kelly, Staubach.
Yeah.
But like Bradshaw
yeah.
and Staubach weren't from an era where they were throwing.
Bradshaw might be close, but yeah, Kelly wasn't airing it out in any of the Super Bowls. They were too busy getting destroyed. And the first Cowboys one, he got taken out. So
yeah. I like the 5 we came up with.
all right. So we'll check in with Kurt Warner, Joe Montana, John Elway, Patrick Mahomes, and Peyton Manning.
All right, and Russell Wilson.
Similar conversations, similar names. Montana and Elway went on there immediately. Ethan came in with Kurt Warner. Similar to what the Addict Boys said, how he was only in the 3, but he was putting up massive numbers in those 3. So it wouldn't surprise me actually if he's like second behind Brady in terms of yards, because he had to be averaging like 400 yards a Super Bowl, something like that. Yeah, and then Mahomes just had his 4th, and we liked that. And then of the Mannings, Peyton, yeah, he had the one stinker, but the other 3 were good numbers. So we checked in with the same 5: Montana, Elway, Warner, Mahomes, Peyton.
Both teams are receiving points. Well done. I'm super impressed. It's actually really, really clustered, and it's exactly in the order that Eric read them off, which made it really easy to score that. So Brady is over 3,000 yards. But after that, there's a drop off. Kurt Warner is number 2 at 1156. Then it's Montana 1142, Elway 1128, Mahomes now at 1071, and Manning just over at 1001. So literally after Brady, there's a fall off and everybody's within 150 yards. So well done to both teams. That's 50 points all the way around. All right. My last question is for the baseball nerds. I'm looking for the 5 Major League Baseball players in history who have 1,000 combined home runs plus stolen bases. Now, I'm going to tell you just because I'm nice. Neither Hank Aaron nor Willie Mays are on this list, but they're both really, really close. Okay, they're both in the 990s, in fact. So there are 5 guys who are ahead of them.
David, we shall check in.
All right. One of us is addicted to trading cards, and so is the other. Has checked in. Russell Wilson is a good father. Give you about another minute.
Okay, I think we're close.
Yeah.
Barry Bonds for sure.
Right.
He's the only 500 club, and I think he's the only 400 club. You said A-Rod, which I like. He's got he didn't get to 700, but he's like 690 something.
Yeah, I think I want to say 692 or 696, but either way.
Okay. So he's got to have like 300 and change steals for A-Rod seems right. I think Ricky Henderson has over 1,000 steals by himself, so even if he didn't hit a single home run, he'd still be on this list. But he hit a bunch of home runs. Yeah. And yeah, I like your Lou Brock pick as well, because I think I think he's got over 900 steals.
He definitely does, and it would be extremely reasonable to think that he hit enough home runs to make up the difference.
Right. And so then the fifth, it's like, I'm just trying to think of who are some of the other big steals guys that would have had enough pop to get to 1,000 combined. Like, and it's thin. Like, I don't think like a Kenny Lofton would have had enough home runs or steals combined to get
No.
there. Like Vince Coleman's another steals guy, but he had very little power.
Right.
Yeah, I'm
Tim Raines,
Oh, that's interesting.
but I would
Maybe.
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know anything about Tim Raines' numbers.
I just
so-
know that he has a lot of steals.
Okay.
I don't know if I can give anything other than that.
I don't know. You want to just I feel really strong about those four.
I feel good about those four, so I would be good with just locking in with that. So
Okay, yeah, I say we just we take the safe play.
Yeah.
So we will check in Barry Bonds, Alex Rodriguez, Ricky Henderson, and Lou Brock.
Okay. And one of us is addicted to trading cards.
Pretty similar discussion. I think Tim Raines is probably just shy. I think he had a little over 800 steals. I'm guessing he didn't quite have 200 home runs, but I bet he's close. So we had the same four, but I think that the fifth might be another guy who's high on the steals list, and that's Ty Cobb, because I think he was right around 900, and which means he only had to have 100, a little over 100 home runs, and I think he got a lot of inside the park home runs. He wasn't necessarily putting a lot over the fence, but that was back in the day when, some fields were huge, right? So we're going with the same four they had plus Ty Cobb.
Once again, both teams are receiving points.
Wow.
God, I am
Nice
super
job.
impressed. So yeah, let me just break this down real quick. So Ricky Henderson, you're right, Tako. Like he had 1,400 steals, so it really wouldn't matter how many home runs he had. But yeah, he's way in the front of this list with 1,703 total. Barry Bonds is next. You're right. He's the only 500 guy. Lou Brock is next. He had 938 steals, so he didn't need that many home runs, but he had about 150. Then comes A-Rod, and then finally Ty Cobb. It was interesting when I was looking at this list. I mean, because I was a kid who used to read baseball stats all the time, I very clearly remember that at some point Ty Cobb had 118 career home runs. But every once in a while they go back, and I don't know what inspires them to do this. They took a home run away. So he's actually at 117 in every record I've seen. I've seen this happen before. The other guys who are really close, Hank Aaron actually combined is at 995, and Willie Mays is at 998. That's why I was feeling bad to like that somebody could actually jump on those. Tim Raines, I was getting a little bit nervous because he's the other guy that was a legitimate contender. He had 808 steals and 170 home runs, so he's at 978.
Wow, that's closer than I thought it would have been.
Yeah,
The Mays eliminator definitely helped because I would have 100% thrown Mays on.
Yeah,
the list if you
absolutely.
hadn't said anything.
As well, you should. It would have been a good guess. My favorite guy that I ran into when I was researching this was Juan Pierre, Juan Pierre, not Juan Pierre, like the capital, but Juan Pierre, who had 614 steals and 18 home runs. So it was just, and I bet half of those were inside the park home runs. That guy had no pop whatsoever. All right, so we have come to the end of our third quarter, and our scores are still very close. One of us is addicted to trading cards, and so is the other, has 475, and Russell Wilson is a good father, has 455. That will bring us to the fourth quarter.
The fourth quarter, known as Put Your Fours Up. This quarter consists of 4 categorized questions that teams will wager up to 100 points each, not to exceed their current point total.
Question 1 is going to be born in 1999. Question 2, born in 89. Question 3, born in 79. And for Marcus, question 4, born in 69.
Nice.
So born in 99 will be MLB. Born in 89 will be NFL. Born in 79 will also be MLB. And born in 69 will be the NBA. It's time for the teams to place their wagers.
We'd like to take a minute to invite you to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at BenchwarmersTP. We also have a Facebook group for fans of the pod called The Bench. Join us there to comment on the latest episodes and share cool sports facts and trivia. If you'd be willing to rate and review us on iTunes or Stitcher, we'd greatly appreciate the support so that other people may find this podcast. Thanks.
Now that the wagers are in, on to the questions. Question 1. Born in 99. He was the cover athlete for MLB 21 and is the youngest person ever to be the cover athlete for MLB The Show.
All right, we'll check in, David.
All right. One of us is addicted to trading cards. Has checked in. Russell Wilson is a good father. Give you 2 minutes.
Yep, I'm pretty confident that's the answer. So we'll go ahead and check in with Fernando Tatis Jr.
All right.
For 100 points.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And one of us is addicted to trading cards. Your answer and wager, please.
Yeah, I think 21's the first year they started throwing it on Xbox, so I was super excited when that happened. So, but yeah, I buy this game every year. It's Fernando Tatis Jr.
That is correct. Can't throw one past you guys at all. I had forgotten that when I was researching Fernando Tatis Jr., that he was as young as he was, that he was actually born in 99, although he barely made it. I think he's January 99. But then it was his father who has the record for being, wait, which one was it? I think he's the only guy to hit 2 grand slams in one inning in Major League Baseball history.
Yep.
So, All right. Question number 2. Born in 89. Who is the only non-running back in at least the last 50 years to lead the NFL in yards from scrimmage for a season?
We'll go ahead and check in.
All right. Russell Wilson is a good father, has checked in. One of us is addicted to trading cards. So is the other. Give you a minute to talk this out.
So with you said it'd be 2010, 2011 draft. If you take those 2 drafts and you look at the players with the potential to do it, you're looking at like an AJ Green or a Julio Jones.
Got to be Julio then, right?
Right? Because
didn't he have like an 1,800-yard receiving year?
Yeah.
That had to have been the year.
Yeah, it wasn't, like I think CJ Spiller's name is on that list. That's not going to happen.
No.
And he's a running back anyway, even though he didn't. Whatever. Jonathan Baldwin, I don't think did it.
No, I think it's got to be Julio out of the.
Yeah. So unless you think Kyle Rudolph had like an outstanding year.
He didn't have 1,800 yards.
Okay. All right. So I think
just saying.
Good. All right. I think we're good. With all of that, unless you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. We're gonna check in with Julio Jones for 100 points.
All right. And Russell Wilson?
We were having a very similar conversation and also checked in with Julio Jones for 100 points.
Both teams are receiving points. Eric, you had it broken down perfectly, or Eric and Josh, and probably the other team too. I'm surprised by this. I think it's just a matter of time with the way everyone is throwing the ball around that it's only been a receiver. It's never been a tight end, and it's only been a receiver the one time, which was 2015 was the year. And Josh is right. Julio Jones had, well, I don't know, it was 1,800 some plus total yards.
Yeah.
But probably very few of those were rushing. So yeah, I mean, the only reason I think it's not receivers now more often is that people like McCaffrey are still hanging out there, and he's the one who led the league this past year. But yeah, it is Julio Jones. It was 2015, and well done to both teams. All right. Question number 3, born in 79. In 1982 and 83, Cal Ripken Jr. won the Rookie of the Year and MVP in consecutive years. Since that time, who's the only other player and the only National Leaguer to win the Rookie of the Year and MVP in consecutive years?
David, we'll check in.
All right. The trading card guys have checked in. Russell Wilson is a good father. We'll give you about another minute.
Okay, Ethan and I are both coming to the realization that we're both crap at Rookie of the Year knowledge. So I'm trying to go at it from the MVP angle, just throwing like 2000s MVPs at the wall to see what sticks. I was in the middle of typing, so I threw out Pujols, but the more I think about Pujols, Bonds kind of had a monopoly on the MVP from like 01 to 04, and I think Pujols was already up and in the league by then. So the consecutive years thing wouldn't work.
I don't know how I feel about Chase Utley.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't really remember him too much.
And this is what, born in 79.
Uh-huh.
Ryan Braun is interesting,
Yeah.
but
He,
so
because
is,
he, yeah, and so is Ryan Howard. I think those are the two I like the most. Ryan Howard would have won MVP in like 06, 07, somewhere in there.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Do
Ron,
you know when Ryan Braun, what his rookie year was?
oh, phew. It was probably around then. It was
Yeah.
like 06, 07. I don't think he won. I think his MVP was a little later. It was like 2010, somewhere in there. So maybe, yeah,
Uh,
maybe Howard, did he win Rookie of the Year in like 06 and MVP in 07 or
yeah, and now that I'm thinking about it, Hugh Halls, I think, would have been winning MVPs around then.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't feel great in this category, but Ryan Howard seems like the
Yeah,
best direction we've
I
gotten
think
so
it's the
far.
I think it's the best we got. Any last Jimmy Rollins has an MVP, but the more I think about Ryan Howard winning Rookie of the Year, I think he did win Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
I don't think Utley or Rollins did. I think Ryan Braun did, but Howard I like more than Braun.
I do too. Yeah, let's go ahead and go with that.
All right, we will check in Ryan Howard for 100 points.
All right. And the trading card guys, what'd you have?
I had it down to basically somebody that was roughly around my age, unfortunately. And I'm better with rookie of the year lists, and Josh is too. So we were going through that. Dontrell Willis popped up, Pujols. But then we kind of settled on Ryan Howard. So we checked in with Ryan Howard for 100 points.
Both teams are receiving points. Yeah, well done. I had forgotten. I went to research Ryan Howard. I went to look for somebody who was born in 1979. And it was interesting. I'd forgotten. I think he came up a little bit older, but when he came up, he was a little bit older, that is. But he still has the record for home runs in somebody's second year, because it was in his second year when he won the MVP that he hit almost 60 home runs. I think he was at 58. He's also he was the fastest guy in terms of number of games to 100 career home runs. He had the most home runs in his first 1,000 career at bats in Major League history. But he sort of, the problem was he was also a strikeout machine. So anyway, it's 100 points all the way around. Correct answer is Ryan Howard. All right, and we've come to our last question. Born in 69. What player holds the record for being the oldest player to make All NBA for the first time, when he was a second team selection in 04?
David, we shall check in.
All right, for the last time tonight, one of us is addicted to trading cards is checked in. Russell Wilson is a good father. Give you a minute.
Oh, I think you could give us about 2 hours and full unfettered access to all databases of statistics, and we still might not be able to get this one.
Yeah, this one's killing me. Like Peja Stojakovic stood out at first, but I think he's a little
He's
younger.
Yeah, I think he's too young.
Jermaine O'Neal was on teams before that.
He's definitely too young.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Jason Kidd would have been too young.
I would be shocked if Jason Kidd didn't make an All NBA before
Right.
2004. God, I'm just trying to think of like what other teams were good in 2004, and that's such a weird
Right.
it's such a weird era in the NBA because the finals was Pistons Lakers, but like nobody on those teams fits because I think I initially threw out like either of the Wallaces, Ben or Rashid, but
Right.
I think they're both too young.
Yeah, I know like the Timberwolves and the Bucks had some like sneaky runs in there.
Right. Who
Oh,
I have a vision of Malik Sealy's card, NBA card on the
what?
Timberwolves from that area, but
Rest in peace.
there's no way he made. Yeah, there's no way.
Timberwolves has me
Nothing about that
thinking
fits. Yeah.
Timberwolves has me thinking maybe Sam Cassell.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh my gosh, and there's another name I'm trying to think of that I can't get out of my head. Latrell Sprewell too, but I think he would have been on at least one.
Yeah.
I have a really soft spot in my heart for like those early to mid 2000s Kings, but yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think any of them.
I don't think Doug Christie's making an All NBA. I don't hate Cassell or Spree. That's better than what we have. Sprewell might be well, he would have been like what 90 95 draft, somewhere in there, 94, 95.
Something like that.
So that
And
feels too young.
yeah, and then I don't know if Sam Cassell is older, but I think he would have been maybe just before then.
Maybe.
All right,
It's a coin flip for me.
I need an answer. I'm sorry, guys.
Do you feel stronger either way?
I'd probably lean Cassell just because I feel like I have a better idea on how old Sprewell is, and he feels younger than that. So
Let's do it.
all right, we'll check in Sam Cassell for 100 points and a prayer.
All right. And one of us is addicted to trading cards. What'd you guys have?
I feel like I maybe had a little in on this one. The number one seed that year was the Minnesota Timberwolves. And yeah, it absolutely was the Cassell, Sprewell, Garnett team that lost in the Western Conference Finals to the Lakers. And Sam Cassell, I mean, he was a good player for a long time with the Rockets and the Bucks, right? I think, I don't know. But I don't think he never hit that like level of like peak until he was with the Timberwolves. And I think he made an All-NBA team that year. So not very much suspense here, because we also wagered 100 points and our answer was also Sam Cassell.
Well, I know this doesn't change the outcome of the game one way or the other, but both teams are receiving points. It was Sam Cassell, and whoever was saying it, it was a goofy time when you go look at this All-NBA team, because it would be the only year that he would make it. It was the only year that Ron Artest made it. He made third team. It was the only year that Michael Redd made it. It was his third. He made third team. It was the only year that Stojakovic made it. He made the second team. And it was the only year that Baron Davis made it. He made the third team. So I don't know what the hell was going on. It was kind of transitioning from one group of guys to another. But the oldest guy who made it at age 35 or whatever was, in fact, Sam Cassell. So good job to all teams. Both teams. Our game has come to an end. And here are the final scores. Russell Wilson is a good father, finished with a extremely respectable 855 points. But our clipboard captains of the game, who are receiving the coveted Bo Nix Award with 875 points, is one of us is addicted to trading cards, and so is the other. Ethan, I'm sorry the game was so easy that these guys could throw a perfect game at you, and you didn't really have much chance. So I hope you had fun, and what kind of comments do you want to give us on the way out here?
Yeah, that last one broke my brain a little bit. Just thinking Michael Redd, Peja Stojakovic, and I'm trying to collect all my thoughts right now. But yeah, no, that was a fun game. I think we had some good ins to some of the questions. Yeah, thanks again for having me, y'all.
Yeah, it was great. Come back anytime. This was it was world of fun, and paired you with Tako because I thought you guys would be a good team, and unfortunately going up against Ede and Josh. No, not much of a chance anyway.
Going up against Ede.
You can
leave it at that.
Exactly. Even while
I had a couple things today. So.
Even while he's sorting through his cards at the same time, he still beats mortals. So anyway, yeah, thank you.
The Daryl Armstrong card's sitting on his desk.
That's right.
I'm sure there's one within arm's length. I'm sure there is.
There's a big watermark on it that says "I got MVP votes" on the front. So, Ethan, thank you for coming on. Thank you for your support for the podcast. Yeah, and thank you to everybody who supports the podcast, everybody who listens to the podcast, and on behalf of Eric Ede and Josh and Tako, and of course Ethan, this has been David Lux. And thank you for listening to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast. Until next time, we'll keep the bench warm.
That ball hit high and deep. Stretch! Get on back there. They look up. You can put it on the board. Yes!
Into deep left center for Mitchell. And we'll see you tomorrow night.
That great music you're listening to is by Justin Nozick. Thanks to him for producing that music for us. You've been listening to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast. Make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We are at BenchwarmersTP.